control. Politicians and celebrities make deals behind closed doors, promises broken, and their income soars. Hidden agendas run the grand parade. In the circus, choose to masquerade. Believe me, I wouldn't lie. I've been given money, power, and fame to keep you in line.
Welcome, everyone. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive on one of the internet's most couples, and these are some OG influencers from YouTube and then Instagram and everything, and they had a huge following of mostly women, and this was considered the couple that everybody wanted to emulate. All the girlies wanted to have this couple goal type relationship. So they did a lot of content on their relationship, on starting a business together, on raising a family together, and their marriage and everything that came up. So like they were very, forthcoming and sharing with all of that stuff to their audience. And because of this, they had a huge following of mostly women. So what happened that they are now getting a divorce? So today we're going to be doing a deep dive into what we know about their relationship, which was incredibly public, and why do we think that it fell apart, and what do they have to say about it? Because not only were they forthcoming and very open during their entire relationship, talking about a lot of private details of their relationship and their family, but post separation, they made a 2-hour video detailing why this happened, from like how they got together, when things started to go wrong, and then ultimately what led them to this. So this can be seen as like a cautionary tale or just an interesting deep dive. Am I trying to say that they're terrible people? No. Am I trying to say that this is how everybody thinks? No. We're just trying to go into their relationship, and hopefully together we can avoid some of these pitfalls in our own relationships, especially for the younger people in our lives, kind of like let them know that these things happen and to watch out for certain traits, character traits that could mean the relationship might not work out. So let's begin. All right, so this is their entire, I'm not going to do the whole thing. Calm down, but we're going to get into a little bit on their relationship. So first, before we even get into that, let's do a little background on that. Okay, so hold on, Missy is screaming. Let me let her out. 1 second. Okay, never have a cat in the room. All right, so this is kind of like how they started. They were a very young couple. They met while they were at work, working at a bank or something. And Alex, the guy, really liked Mimi, the girl, from the start. And she was kind of like, I don't know. I just see you as a friend, right? But the story goes, their lore goes, that he was very persuasive. He's told her all of his plans in the relationship and how he was going to, like what he wanted to do with his life, and how it aligned with her values, and how they could create this beautiful life and business and future together. And he sold her on the dream, basically, guys. So now, what is the red flag about their love story that you first notice? Okay. We're trying to look back and say, were there any red flags in the beginning that we need to be aware of? Okay. The first one that I would say, oh, great. I wasn't paying attention to the chat. Thanks, guys, for coming in. We're going to be talking about this couple. All right. So anyways, so the first red flag that I see in the relationship was the fact that he was actively pursuing her too much. These are very famous YouTuber influencers, incredibly famous, millions of followers. This is what the girls follow. All right. So anyways, this couple, the reason that they started and why I think it's like a little bit of a red flag that you guys need to be aware of is that she was not attracted to him immediately. She was like, I don't know. And he felt the need to upsell himself and then to sell the lifestyle that he was going to give them and all this stuff. Instead of like himself, it was just like, I can, help you achieve this and this and this and this life goals. We can do these things together. So it seems to me like less romantic and more of a business partnership, right? From the get-go, it's like, I don't know if I find you attractive. I don't know if I like you like that. You're just my friend. I just enjoy talking to you. I love you as a friend, but I don't know if I feel that way about you. Basically, there's zero lust. There's zero chemistry. It's a completely logical relationship. And if we know anything about females is that they don't have any logic, right? So females need to feel something. They need to feel excitement. They need to feel like a little bit of passion in a relationship to really bond them to someone. So what she did was she pushed down all of those normal female desires and she just like, I'm just going to go with this relationship purely based on logic because she had some maybe like a bad relationship or a breakup in the past that she, kind of like said, I went that way and that didn't turn out right. So now she's probably like, let me just go for the nice guy that has a plan and it's very loyal, blah, 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 blah. Right. So that was her thinking. And his thinking was like, she doesn't really like me, but I find her wildly attractive. So I know these are her values. Let me try to sell her on I'm the guy to give her these future goals, right? So it's going to be rough, this one. All right. So unfortunately, they did get married, even though like there's no butterflies. So this is them when they first started dating. And you can already tell like he's very happy. She's like, and no shade against them. Like she probably got out of a bad relationship and she's like, this is a nice guy. This is what I should be doing. I should be with a nice, sweet guy. But women want passion, right? They just do. It is what it is. All right. Unfortunately, they did have children. So very unfortunate. They did have a child. So now there is going to be a divorce and they're going to have to do co-parenting. She's going to be a single mom dating. He's a single dad dating. It adds a lot of drama to a relationship, to like their future relationships that was unnecessary. If she had just said, look, I need passion too. I need to be aligned with you for our future goals, but I need passion too. Right? And it was very, very weird when they would talk about the relationship. A lot of the questions are like, how often are you guys intimate? How is that going? Because people are curious, people are nosy, and they're very open. So people would ask these type of questions. And she was very quick, and I felt it immediately. I felt like this is weird, right? She was very quick to kind of shut down any questions on that. Like, oh, just as much as normal people do it. We're not very hypersexual, whatever. We're not just like into that. We have other things to do. Like we do it occasionally. What's the big deal? Why do you guys ask about this stuff? Like, that's weird. And to me, that's like, what? Like when someone doesn't want to talk about that and they're open with everything else. Look, if you're a closed person, you're going to be closed with that. That's understandable. But if you're open with every tiny detail, every thought that comes into your mind, and this you want to shut down, that to me says there's something there. So I immediately, and this was years and years and years ago when I was watching them, I immediately got like a weird vibe. And I kept that in my mind. Like, I don't think she likes him. I don't think she finds him attractive. I don't think she wants to sleep with him. And it was very weird, right? So anyways, they started a business together, and lo and behold, it became incredibly successful. He basically told her, hey, we're going to do like, what is it that you're doing for the wedding? Oh, you're getting like hair extensions for your wedding. Let's find out where they're made. Let's make a a YouTube channel, like you and your sister make a YouTube channel and just do like hair extension content, like braids and blah, 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 and all these things. And then, then we'll shoot the product after we have like a big audience, and then we'll make some money that way and whatever. And the lore was they planned on making a couple thousand a month to, have a decent business and to do that forever. And that was going to be their business. Right. But lo and behold, her and her sister made a really good YouTube channel talking about like how to braid hair and do stuff with extensions. And it was at a time where this stuff just started getting popular for like the white girls. So this was like the white girl extensions explosion, to be honest. It was like when white girls started wearing, like, basically this hair comes from India, because in India there's religious ceremonies where you have to shave your head at a certain point, and it's virgin hair. Like, they don't color it, they don't put chemicals, they don't burn it and fry it like we do in the US and other places. So they have virgin, really high quality, thick, dense hair. So when they shaved it, it's long hair, and they would use it to make these wigs, right? And these extensions and stuff. And they would bleach it, whatever. Anyway, so they had a big business on this, and it made a lot of money very, very quickly, that they were profitable within, I think, 3 months. So they went from being really broke to having a lot of money incredibly fast. And this is the other problem. When you start a business with your significant other, and they feel like, because from her point of view, she feels like she got the customers, she made the YouTube video, she did all that stuff. So she feels like I'm the one who made the business, right? It was me. And you just kind of like, maybe you gave me the idea, but I'm the one who executed, right? So that kind of created an imbalance right away. Right. And he was also, instead of like taking credit when he should have taken credit for like, no, I had the idea. I told you to do this. I helped with this, like, to make sure like she knew like they were doing this together. She kind of became the face of it, and he kind of like took a back seat to her, which is not good, because women need to feel like they're looking up to a man. And I'm sorry if this triggers a lot of people, but it really does. They need to feel like super proud, like, wow, he's so amazing, he's so better, he could, like, I couldn't have this without him. Once it's like he couldn't have this without me, that's another imbalance. So you have two imbalances right from the get-go in the relationship. Now let me check the chat. Yes, Anson, how you been? Oh my gosh. Yes. So I would definitely say you have to be really careful with power dynamics in relationships. Also, don't let your woman ever put you in this seating position. It's a little weird, right? And taking photos like that, it's just a little weird. But anyways, oh my gosh, you guys, let's try to be nice, because we're trying to learn from them so we don't make the same mistakes. Yes, okay, this is interesting, because I started following them with my husband because we kind of look like them, right? Like, right? You kind of see it. She's from Azerbaijan, which is close to Persia, right? Maybe like a little bit of the same race mixing over there. Like, we're probably genetically similar. And then he's just like, a standard white boy, which is like mine. He's a standard white boy. So like, we would watch them literally because we're like, we see ourselves in these people, right? So anyways, what are you guys talking about? Okay, look, he is tall. He is tall. So we need to talk about this too, because there's a lot of information on the internet that says, well, as long as you're tall and fit, you're attractive. I don't know how to tell you guys this. There's a constellation of attractive features that you need to kind of cultivate if you want to be attractive. And it's not just your looks, because you can literally not be physically attractive, but if you have like that go-getter, domineering, I can handle anything, chill vibes, like, you're going to be attractive. There's something about someone who, like, when someone's like a problem happens and like the woman freaks out, like, oh my God, I can't believe this happened, I'm so stressed, I'm freaking out and crying, blah, blah, blah. And the man goes, don't worry, honey, I got this. Just go sit down, go make yourself some tea. Don't even think about it. I got this. Like, you could have no six, you could have a 1-pack protruding from your body, But if you can have that calming, chill, masculine type, I got this, don't worry about it, I don't need you, I'm gonna handle it energy, women will just be like, this is the hottest thing ever. Women resent when they feel like you need them. If you need us, we'll resent you. We want you to not need us. Plus, we want you to handle our problems. And I know it's not fair. It's so like, why can't you be like my mother who handled my laundry and my emotions and told me I was a cute boy? Why can't women do that? No, because they're not your moms. They want you to come in and handle their problems so that their psycho anxieties, depression, mental health disorders, all the things that make a woman get tampered down. So that's what women are looking for. They want a man to come in and say, sit down, woman. I got it. Don't even think about it. Chill. Calm down. I got it. You don't need to worry about this. Go over there. Don't come in with problem and negative energy. Come in and be like, this happened at work and this person said this and I have this problem with this and blah, blah, blah. And I'm so stressed about, whoa, 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 whoa. Does that mean that now I have to take over as a man? I have to handle your problems? Immediate disgust. And this is, I'm sorry, this is something y'all don't want to hear. Immediate disgust. If I have to go and save you, you're the princess in the tower? No. I'm the psychotic princess having a mental breakdown once a month. You save me. If you come to me, imagine the prince climbs the tower, slays a dragon, climbs the tower, and says, my arm hurts because I slayed the dragon. Oh my God, this is so painful. Can you come and cuddle me and tell me that I'm a cute boy like mommy did? No, that's not how this works. You got to stop listening to the psycho babble gibberish online of like, we want a guy who tells us his feelings and comes to us with a problem. No, we don't want that. We want a guy who handles his problems so well that he still has energy and capacity to come and calm us down and handle our problems, not come home and give us problems to solve that he couldn't. That is a no. So, to reiterate, do not let your woman think she's the reason for your success or she was a big part of your success. Yes, you want her to help you with your business. Yes, you want to be able to say, honey, can you fix this on there? Like, I'm going to delegate to you this and this and this. But you don't want her to be like the end all, be all, front and center face of a business. No, that's your job. And I'm sorry if this is not, yay feminism or whatever, but that's literally the guy's job, is to make the woman feel like she has someone to look up to and she feels safe. All right. So, yes, and this is true. Women don't know what they want, but I will tell you this. They don't want you to tell them your problems and ask them to solve your problems and then to come in stressed out and to make them stressed out, because women suck up energy from other people. Negative energy only. Like, it's really hard for us to get positive energy. So we suck up a negative energy. So if you come and if you're near a woman and you're stressed out from the day, you're stressed out from work, your boss was yelling at you, you have like financial difficulties, blah, 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 blah. And then you come home and you throw all of that on the woman, she's going to flip out. Why? Because we can't handle our own problems, let alone yours. So come correct. Come with like, handle it outside and then come home and relax. Yes. Anyways. Yes. Remember, just because we say we want something, we don't mean it like that. Guys will take it to the extreme. Oh, you want me to complain? You want me to share my feelings? I think I'm going to die. I hate my boss. I want to murder everybody. Once you come with that energy, she's going to be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Are you psychotic? And then now she doesn't feel safe. And now she doesn't respect you. And now she's looking for somebody who feels safe. And it's no longer you. So be careful that you throw burdens on women. Yes. Yes. So, yes, just be careful. Look. Anyways, also, don't let her feel like you need her so much. She needs to need you. And this idea that you're going to have two warriors that come together, that's not true. Like a lot of people will refer to like Alex and Layla Hermosi, this Persian business couple. But the problem is that they don't see the full dynamic. She's very hyper masculine independent. Yes, but he is a billion times more hyper masculine and independent than she is. So much so that in their first date, she's like, I don't feel like going. I'm tired. I'm this and this. And he's like, no, you're going. And he basically ordered her that she's going to go and she's going to have a nice time and that she needs to get out of the house and do something fun, whatever. So he outmanned her so much that she became comfortable and safe, right? So even if you have a very masculine, I can do everything woman, you have to outdo her. And how he does it is she flips out and stresses out over things, but he stays calm and cool like a cucumber and handles them for, don't worry, honey, don't worry about it. I got it. Just go sit down. I got that. Oh, this is too stressful. I got it. Go over there. Anyways, that's how it has to be. Keep the dynamic where you are level headed always. Remember, female hormones are this, right? They're like this. And they change like in 28-day cycles of this, right? So today she's up, tomorrow she's down, tonight she's crazy. This time she's depressed. She can't eat. She can't sleep. She can't, this is female hormones. This is male hormones. It's this. All right. And even if you have low T, it's a little lower, but it's still all so relaxing. So if you can't be safe, and safety for females means emotional stability. The one thing that a female can never achieve is emotional stability. So if you have emotional stability, she will feel so calm and so safe, right? And then she'll be like, I can relax. And then it doesn't matter if you have a six-pack. It doesn't matter if you're 2 feet tall. Some things might still matter, but most things won't matter if you can provide peace. All right. Okay, let's see these peeps. All right. So this is a photo of them at work. And I don't know why they released this photo, but I don't think the eyes on this photo scream respect. What do you guys think? Like, I'm just not seeing a lot of respect and admiration and like I don't see them with any like this is just a terrible photo to release. Like I can understand sometimes like you're going to get a little pissy at someone, but why would you release this photo? Like this to me seems like something I would be like never releasing as a male founder of a company. I would not release this photo and I would be like, hey guys, is there a problem here? Do you guys not respect me? Because I'm looking at this picture and I'm looking at two women with their eyes and face of pure discontent, disdain. They do not agree with what he's saying. They do not think he's providing any value to the company. They feel like they can do it better. This is the feeling that I get from this photo. Like you guys tell me in the comments, do you get that from this? Because that's what I got from that photo. Yes, exactly. Oh my God. Yeah, like, I don't know. I feel like I could be wrong. It could just be like he was saying something terrible that somebody did and they were reacting to something terrible that somebody else did. Maybe, who knows? But I'm just saying with no context, this photo it's not a good look to release. It's like, I wonder. Anyways, so let's listen to a little bit. What? What is that? Men going their own way? No. I'm just trying to, you guys should definitely get married and have families. but I need you to recognize red flags because it's important. It's better to be with a girl who's not that cute, but looks at you like, wow, he's so calm, he's so strong. And like, okay, this is this is the key. You want her to like kind of be a space cadet around you. Like you want her to be like, I don't know. Like she's not paying attention. She doesn't look when you're driving to see where you're going because she's so calm. She's like, he's got it. He's got this. She doesn't have to like micromanage you. She doesn't have to ask you if you paid this bill. She doesn't have to ask you if you've eaten or whatever, like you've done anything, like you've handled everything, and she gets to be relaxed and kind of like the dumb one. Not dumb, but like absent-minded, like because she's more childlike. Because women, when they're acting silly and goofy and like a child, that is when they're happy, right? Yes. I mean, in a sick way, kind of. Like you gotta think like, what would a good girl dad do for his daughter? He would like make sure she doesn't like, feel stressed because he wants her calm. He's not trying to scare her. So he's trying to keep her calm, make sure like, everything is good with her. Like, and her emotions, he'll like tamper down. And it's like, oh, I don't want to tell her my problems. Like you wouldn't tell your kid your problems. Like what kind of a psycho would go to your kid? And I'm not trying to say women are children. I'm just trying to say that women have a lot going on hormonally that they can't handle much. There was we went on a tour of Flagler College in Central Florida, right? In St. Augustine, the oldest city, I think, in the country, or at least Florida, whatever. So we're in St. Augustine at Flagler College. And it used to be a very beautiful, very famous hotel, like in Victorian times or some shit like that. So we go into this hotel. There's like a box office looking place, right? And then there's this big room, and we go into this big room off the side of it. It's got double doors, grand, and it's got multiple little places where there was like chessboards and like card games were set out with beautiful chairs, pianos, there was music playing. Everything was very calming and relaxing. And back then they said that when men went to pay the bill, so the men would walk to the right and go to line up to go pay the bill. The women were sent to this room with the music playing and relaxing things and offered tea and crumpets because it was thought that the women would faint and have psychological problems if they found out how much the bill was, which in those days it was thousands of dollars. So you have to imagine in Victorian times, thousands of dollars. That's like ridiculous, right? So they didn't want them to know about that because they didn't want them to freak out. So men used to understand this about women, that we don't want to know stressful things. We don't want to know that, like things are getting tight. We don't want to know that. We just want you to handle it and then put us in like the women's room with like the pretty music playing, the beautiful windows, the nice scenery, offer us some tea and crumpets, and we'll relax and you guys handle it. I'm sorry. It's not. Look, yes, see, we would. It's stressful. We don't want to be stressed. Stress is like, this is how a woman is, like baseline stress. So like, you don't want us to go any more higher because we're always this close to psychosis. It doesn't, but we don't need a feminist world, okay? Just because, look, do not be of the world, right? Do not be of the world. The world is a messed up, backwards ass place. Be your own thing. When you were in your home, that is your world. You get to do whatever you want in your own home. And if in your world, your woman is calm and relaxed and you handle things, so when you go to her, you only go with good things and relaxing things and fun things, then she gets to be a fun, giddy, happy girl, then your world is gonna be fine, even if it's on fire outside. I don't care what happens outside the door, right? Like, that's a dumpster fire. And it's always been since the dawn of time. It's a dumpster fire outside. We don't want that. We're trying to cultivate relaxation, beauty, calmness, right? So like give her a little budget to decorate, whatever, make a calm place. Yes. Grandma knew better, right? Grandma, you would come, Grandma, I'm stressed out at work. This person, I think my boss hates me. And Granny would be like, come sit down, dearie. Here's some tea and crumpets. Look at the field. Look at the deer. Oh, it's lovely out there. That's grandma wisdom. Be like grandma, right? Yes. So, yes. This is true. Look, I'm sorry, guys. I wish women were just tiny men and you could go to war with them. I wish you could be like, here, take this, I don't know, big ass gun. Let's go kill some things out there. Let's slay some dragons. Come on, woman. I wish it was like that. But women will take that gun and they will pass out and they will be useless and they will be a liability. Yes, someday I will be a great grandma when my kids and my grandkids come like, oh my gosh, my spaceship won't start. I'll be like, sweetheart, come sit down. Let's look at the stars together. You see that? That's the constellation. Everybody chill. We don't need to know about this. Where's your husband robot? Go tell that android to fix it for you. All right, sweet pea. Anyways, so let's get into this stuff. Yes, we don't want this. We want a nice look. Women should. I know some women are like, I'm warriors, and that's because they went through a lot of trauma. Trauma makes warriors. It doesn't make calm, happy women. A traumatized woman is a warrior, but she's also never going to be calm. She's never going to chill out to raise calm children. Everything's going to be go, 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 end of the world, fight, fight, fight. You don't want that. So you want to be like, chill, woman. What is wrong with you? You have a problem. No, we don't have problems. She also needs a man to say, okay, she's stressed out. Let me take this woman to get some tea. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's go to brunch, honey. Let's sit down. You like looking at pretty things, pretty colors, pretty places. Dress you up in a cute ass little sundress and let's take you to get some tea. And sit there with your little pinky up with your wife, your girlfriend, whatever. And she's going to calm down, right? The difference between when the kids are like the girls, we have girls. When the girls are like stressed out about anything, we're like, they don't like dresses, but they're still girls, right? So it's like, put on something cute. We're going to have brunch. You sit them there. They have their little hot chocolates. They pour the whipped cream a mile high, and suddenly all their problems are gone. And they're like, Mommy, Daddy, look at this teacup. It's so cute. Come on, you guys. That's how girls need to be. What are you guys talking about? Anyways, so let's listen to their thing.
Honesty is an act of courage. You have to be ready to fully choose to be alive and to fully step into your power. And nothing is guaranteed on this path, and to be okay with that. But the only guarantee you will have is that you will be alive and you will live an authentic life that you came here to do.
As a father of a daughter, I believe I wouldn't want our daughter to have to do something that is not true to her.
It's actually something I've never shared with you before. I realized that we're just very different people when it comes to family vision. That made me really sad.
This is what being human is all about, is this feeling. And love and desire and chemistry, as you said, it's not logical. It's all about the energy.
If I right now, in my life experience, can give you what you deserve in a romantic relationship, I can't force myself to do that.
You know, you feel being abandoned, or you're not enough for this person and they don't desire you, and you're like, hey, what's wrong with me? And that's the thing, like I said, I had to overcome and to heal in that way.
That's why I believe in radical honesty. This is how I live my life. I'm not saying it's the right way, but it's the only way I can live my life, is truth, radical honesty, and kindness. Before we listen to something, or before we are about to have a very intense conversation, or to be honest, any conversation, to go deep into ourselves. And make sure that we're speaking from here, from the heart, not from the head. And whenever you're ready, take a last deep breath and open your eyes. How does that feel?
Love it.
Alex instigated that we record this.
Okay. It's a little weird. I did one on, what's it called? Like those mystical guru type narcissists. And I always see a lot of red flags. And I know I'm dressed like an Indian mystical guru because it's comfy and it was $25 on Etsy. Cotton, 100% cotton. Ooh, it's cute. Anyways, so even though I'm dressed like a guru, I am not a guru, and I'm not going to tell you guys any guru stuff, but I get red flags when I see people who are like, let's find our happy place, let love and light. I've never met a love and light girl that wasn't pure darkness. Anyways, so you guys have to really be careful when people come at you with flowery language, with like these mystical things, and they tell you they're like an angel witch or they're Mercury's and retrograde or they're I don't know, whatever. Like the planets are hitting them in the balls. I don't know, like all this woo-woo stuff. It just comes from an emptiness, a darkness inside. Like there's no God in there, so it's empty, it's hollow. And then they have this space for all of this, like junk to get in, and it kind of feels like they're trying to replace God with making themselves gods. Like, I'm aware of the world and it's like a really bad storm outside. Scary. Thunderous. I don't know if you guys can hear the thunderous. Yes, thank you. I would love some goats. Yes, word salad, radical honesty, radical blah, blah, blah. Like, this is just very weird to me. I am scared. Anyways.
This conversation. I personally feel comfortable speaking about this openly and vulnerably. Obviously,
blah blah blah.
In some words, as much as you can explain in a text about what we're going through and our decision. But overall, I think you can say so much more in a video than in any text or book. So I'm looking forward to diving deep into this conversation. I can feel you getting emotional. Are you okay?
No, I'm totally cool.
You okay? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Feeling super excited because at the same time, we've opened up our lives to so many people for so many years. And when we separated, I feel a lot of people are like, how did this happen? Because it was not something that anyone could have thought about. And I feel a lot of times some people will be like, oh, it was all fake. It was not real. And there was a lot of speculation about what may have caused to this. And that's why I felt it's a powerful story of our love, of our journey, and also the next really chapter, the next book that we'll be creating. So that's why I believe it's a very powerful...
Monetize everything. Monetize your pain, guys. Monetize. Always be closing. The influencer model of the world. Always be closing.
Story to share with others.
Absolutely. And I think also for our own personal history and record to have this conversation for us, I think is also very special and valuable. But also I do see a lot of value. I think a lot of you guys who are listening or watching this right now, you either maybe have gone through a breakup before or are going through one right now, or trust me, even if you don't think you ever will, you might. I don't wish that onto anyone. I certainly never thought I would be here in my favorite park sitting with you and recording a podcast episode on our separation. Like, how bizarre is this? I was so certain about where our relationship was going, and yet sometimes life surprises you and you find yourself in transitions, big, significant, life-changing life transitions. And how do you navigate through that? How do you navigate your relationship? How do you navigate your personal growth? And I think we are going to talk about all of this right now. We will share more about our relationship, what caused the separation, how we've been navigating the separation, and where we are today in 2025, August, beautiful summer day here in London. And I think it's fair to begin a little bit to tell the audience. Some of you probably know us. That's why you're watching or listening to this. Some of you maybe have been forwarded this podcast to listen because maybe it's something you're going through and you might not know our history. So I think kind of when
Blah, blah, blah. We
you
started
and
a
I started
business,
to
the hair
talk and see each
company,
other,
blah,
we
blah,
went on a few
blah.
dates. But nevertheless, I decided to move
Shared
back to
values
Baku,
of freedom
Azerbaijan,
of
because
partnership.
already
We
I'd
hear that.
spent maybe a little over a month in Azerbaijan. So it was a very short transition, but nevertheless, it kind of led us to dating at that point because I felt like me leaving really pushed us coming together, which is so interesting how that can happen. But anyways, we're not going to spend too much time on that. So we start dating, then you get fired from the bank, then I quit the bank. And to make this long story short, then about a year later, I think right after you proposed to me, right? You proposed to me, we were still kind of lost about what we're going to do career-wise. And then basically we read the 4-Hour Workweek. We were heavily inspired by the stories of all these incredible humans who were having this lifestyle entrepreneurship dream, and they were living this dream.
All right, so this was the Tim Ferriss 4-Hour Workweek dream. So like they read this and they're like, this is going to be us, babes. So then they got together and they made it happen. Blah, 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 blah. And she says that their values were freedom and partnership. I don't know, because then they go on in the future. I don't know exactly where it's going to be. And they talk about how when they got married, in her vows, she specifically said she was not going to say forever or till death do us part. None of that stuff was in the vows. So you have to understand, she told him who she was from the beginning. She's like, I'm a child of divorce. He's also a child of divorce. And she's like, I don't believe in marriage forever. I believe in marriage for a season. She basically told him day one. And he was like, well, I actually believed in forever. And she's like, I know you did. So basically, she knew he was saying yes forever when she was saying yes for now, for a season. Maybe just to start the business, right? Like, oh, I see he's very motivated and he can help me start this business and I can get ahead in life with him, right? I don't know if his dad was really in the picture. So, I mean, possibly, I don't know if you want to say that, maybe, but I think she just was like, I can start a business with this guy. You know, like we can get out of, poverty together. We can do that together. We both have the same shared vision to get out of poverty, right? Now, again, this is not based on, I want to bang you. I think you're very good looking. I think I would like to tap that. It was not with any of that. It was only like, I think we could go from here to here financially. And I don't know, like, I think the opposite is better. Like when I met my husband, the thing that I said is, would I be with him under a bridge or a mansion, right? Like for rich or for poor, right? And then I was like, yeah, because he's good looking. I think he's cute. I would like to tap that, right? So that's why I was like, yeah. But because I was like that, I was like, I don't care about the wedding. I don't even need people to go. I don't really care. I don't care how big the ring is. I'm like, because what I wanted was the boy, not the business, the this, the that. There was no things. It was just like, I want this boy. So let's get him locked down as soon as possible, right? So anyway, so that's the difference. I didn't know he was going to be successful, and quite frankly, I didn't care. I was just like, I just want this boy. And I remember telling my dad, like, look, I don't know if he's going to be successful or whatever, but I really, really, really like him. And my dad's like, well, if you really, really like him, he seems like a very good boy. He seems very serious about you. I will help you guys so you guys at least won't be homeless and broke. And, like we were never like, let's conquer the world. But I was just like, let us just like be able to make it, like survive on this planet. And if I can just survive, but I have him, I'll be fine. Right? Like that was my goal. It wasn't like, let me see what stuff I can get. Yes, no drinking. Being drunk? What are you talking about? No, Adam, no drinking. Anyways,
never came across anyone like that, but reading those stories was so inspirational to us. And then we started our first business right as we were about to get married, which was Luxy Hair. It was clip and hair extensions. That, you know, the idea came as we were about to get married. I bought
being like, hey, you actually want to have a similar journey that I do in regards to creating freedom in your life and living fully and not being stuck in just a suburban lifestyle. And this is why the 4-hour work week really resonated. And when I got fired, you didn't get scared and you're like, oh, well, I quit. I don't want to be here anyways. I'm like, wow, like you really didn't care for the security, and that security was never or comfort was really never your way of life, right? When you left and to Azerbaijan, that's where really I would say that was the beginning of that soul recognition of, hey, we both share the similar vision and values. And obviously there's attraction. So let's go kind of on this journey together without kind of communicating that fully, but more just, you know, two young people who have these two wild dreams. And what we saw is the moment we came together, we were just getting lucky.
We amplified everything. Like we would go to a movie theater, we would get free tickets to movies, we'd go to Starbucks, we'd get free cappuccinos. It was so tangible and palatable, this abundance that we almost right away when we got together, we started attracting and bringing into our lives.
Yeah.
Getting lucky in every way except the only way that matters, in my opinion. I'd rather pay for my coffee and get some. That's just me. All right. Blah, 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 blah. We're so abundant. Oh my God, everything is working out. Let's see. Difficulties of aligning parenting styles. Kids, they reveal everything.
Separable, decade plus, traveling the world.
We would always joke that we're almost like a 30-year-old couple, because most normal couples wouldn't have spent this much time together maybe in 30 years. If they have two separate lives, they have two separate jobs, and they come together for a couple of hours in the evenings or on the weekends. Like the amount of hours we spent is like insane.
Yeah, exactly. And then obviously it was time. I was ready to have a child fairly early, and I told you like, hey, whenever you're ready, I'm ready. Because for me as a man, it was just more about providing that financial support, stability, and we achieved that fairly early. So I was like, hey, whenever you're ready to have a child, let's do it. And you're like, hey, not ready yet. So it took some time.
It took 6 years of marriage and probably 8 years together.
Yeah.
To have Alexa.
And then, you know, I was 29 when, you know, our daughter's like, you know, almost 9 now. So I was 29, you were 30. And a lot changed, obviously, when our daughter came, because now it was not just us two, it was 3. I think that was a really, like, I'll say a big shift in our relationship and dynamic.
We can talk about the first year of her birth.
Yeah. So I'm curious of that. How was that for you? Because I do think that was, and I think for so many couples,
yeah, they can relate maybe.
Having a child really makes a big shift. Like oftentimes people say like, hey, marriage is big, but I tell like, being married is nothing compared to having a child.
And for us, even when people would meet us, and we're no longer a romantic couple, they would say, what? You're married and you have a child and you have a business together? Like, how do you do this? And for us, working together was never hard. It was always seamless. But maybe because, again, we met at work, so it was so organic and natural. So I would always tell people, I don't know what it's like not to work with your partner. In fact, for me, that probably wouldn't work, because all I know is always working with my partner, spending all my days with my partner. Having said that, I do think it's different when you have this overall freedom. You can be anywhere, do anything, and we created this incredible lifestyle.
She's from Azerbaijan, which is near Persia, so maybe like similar bloodlines. Anyways, so the other red flag that I kind of picked up over here was that she was very hesitant to have children with him. 6 to 8 years after being with someone and not wanting to have their kids. For a woman, that's kind of odd, because usually we want to spend as much time with our children as possible, right? And we want to have them younger so that we can, you know, still be able to take care of our grandchildren when we're older. So the fear from her to me says she's still wondering if he's safe to have kids with, or if she still likes him, or if she's still going to be around, or like there's something that she was missing and she's like looking for it. Like, is it this? Is it this? And she kind of wanted to hold off on having kids until she figured that out. And then as soon as she figured it out, like, oh, I don't think there's anything else for me, then she's like, okay, I'll have the kids. And then what happens later happens. But anyways, quiet, Simperius. Anyways, so now it's different when the man is like, I need to wait to have kids, because that doesn't always mean that he doesn't like the woman. It usually means he wants to be more financially stable. So as soon as Alex here was financially stable, he was like, let's have kids. We have money. We can have kids. And then she's like, we're financially stable. So that's not the excuse. And then you got to wonder what it is, right? So if you're not financially stable and you're holding off, I can understand that. Everybody can understand that. It is what it is. But once you have the money, if she's still wishy-washy about that, I would say look into that, because there's something there.
Where we had that, we really lived that lifestyle. We would be in Brazil, and then next day in Argentina, and then next day back in Miami, and next day somewhere else. It was incredible, and both of us loved that kind of nomadic lifestyle, and freedom is our top value for both of us. And then
Simperius, calm down. Show me when you finally purchase a female.
we did choose consciously to have a child. We were both ready, and yes, it took me longer than you, and that was a very exciting chapter. And at the same time, I would say for us, the first year Alexa came to our world was the most difficult for our relationship. And it was interesting to observe, because we were not a new couple, right? For someone who's been together for 3 years or 2 years, I know a lot of couples who get together literally within the next 3-5 years, they have children. I'm always like, wow, I'm impressed how you guys do that, because even though we've had this solid relationship of not just being together as a romantic couple, working together, that's a whole different dynamic that we were able to successfully navigate, somehow adding this new element of our relationship of becoming also a family and responsible for this child. And also then, how do you, in a way, come together where you align on the family values? Because I feel like we've discussed our family values before we had a child, and it felt like we were super aligned. And then I think that can happen to many people. The child arrives and the reality hits. People say, nobody can prepare you for having a child. And I used to think, really? I mean, how hard can this be? And yet when she came around, I remember thinking, oh, I know now why people say that. Because you can read 200 books on raising children, having a family, and nothing really can prepare you for the experience, because also your experience is going to be so unique to you, who you are, your personality, your energy, and all of that. So I think Alexa coming to our life really did shake up. And I'm curious how you saw it, but I felt like we just realized that our parenting styles are actually very different. And it's not good or bad. We ended up then kind of coming to peace with that and continuing to be a family. But the first year was a bit of a shock, I think, for both of us. And I think individually you go through personal shock of like, oh my God, my life will never be the same. The weekends, I will never have my weekends. I will always have to consider this child first, right? You don't just wake up and you're like, what do I feel like doing? No, what are we doing as a family? And what does this little human need me to do? And I think, of course, women are affected a lot more, generally speaking, not in every relationship. But yes, that was really intense year for us. But I think we did well. And then I feel like we reconnected.
Yeah, we're still a team. And I believe that, as you said, you can't really prepare for being a parent. And especially because every child is different. For us, our daughter is quite, she's a strong personality. We have some friends as well who have their first child, and the first child is an angel baby, so easy. And then they're like, oh, this is a piece of cake. And then the second child comes, and it's this strong personality, and they are more demanding, they're more needy, or whatever it might be. But all parents listening to this know this, that each child is different. Our daughter we love her. We still went to Cape Town. We just in all kind of, this is very uncensored raw conversation.
It's like a public therapy.
Yeah, I felt, the beautiful thing about our relationship is, at least for me, when you say once a man knows. And then, as you know, that's why I proposed so early. All my friends, when I said I was going to propose, they all said I'm stupid. They're like, what are you doing? You're in your early 20s. Why would you miss your 20s just to be with one woman? But I knew. And I knew, and I'm so grateful for that decision, because the life that we've been able to build together is because we were together, and we weren't just distracted. And I wasn't just this boy distracted by, trying to get women, but I was focused on one, and I was focused on building and building a family, building something for a lifetime. And for me, as a, also, you know, you're really into astrology. As a Taurus, I'm loyal and I'll stick with you no matter what. So for me, it was never even in my mind that we would not live together for the rest of our lives. And I had complete certainty that this is it. And no matter what, you know, my vows, and I'll stick through. That's kind of the person that I am. I understand for you, in a way, if being very aware, you were never like that. Even when we made our vows, you kind of instigated like, hey, we never promised each other forever. That was kind of your thing. I'm like, yeah, we say that, but I'm like, for me, it's forever. But for you,
you agreed to it without actually be honest that that wasn't something that maybe resonated with how you saw relationships. Because yeah, for those of you who don't know, obviously you wouldn't know because you were not at our wedding and we never made our wedding or vow renewal public. In our vows, we always said that we never promised each other forever because we are very realistic, or at least I'm very realistic.
not me.
Clearly, maybe you just agree to it,
Yeah.
but this is something to sit with, is that through observation of all of the relationships I've ever come across in my life, I could hardly pinpoint a happy one. First of all, I think you and I had the happiest relationship I ever came across in terms of also the longevity of our relationship. It was for many, many years. And also we worked together on top of that. So I was just realistic to know that if I promise forever, I'm really lying to myself because I can see that I don't know what's going to happen. Tomorrow, you could wake up and treat me differently. Tomorrow, I could change. Like, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? There's so many things that are out of my control that I don't know. Therefore, I'm not going to lie that I know what's going to happen tomorrow. But I know what I can control. And that is that today, in this very day that I'm living in the present moment, I promise to do my best. And if I promise to do my best in the present, I know that we have a higher chance of this working out for a longer period. And that's all, I guess, we promised in our vows, is that I promise that I will do my best every single day to be the best partner, to be the kindest, to be the honest. And I feel like I kept my vow and I didn't realize you didn't resonate with that. You were, and I think that was the biggest shock for you because when, and of course I'm skipping forward at the moment, but for you, yes, I feel like that's something you're maybe still processing, that for you, you kept saying that, but I thought this is forever. And I kept telling you, but in our vows, we never promised ourselves forever. In my understanding, it was for as long as it works for both of us, for as long as it's honest for both of us, for as long as it's aligned for both of us. Yes, but the moment that is no longer the truth for both of us, you can't stick something that is naturally not sticking. And again, that is my vision or my value or my idea of how I see relationships. I think what I've noticed from the first couple of years of us becoming 2 became 3 is that your resentment started with me in terms of not spending time as a couple, or me, let's say, even going back to full-time working, because I felt extremely blessed to be in a position where I can work from home. I never stopped working, not even probably for a day. I've always continued my social media. I've always continued anything I could do with the energy that I could do, because I was always a full-time mom before she started nursery, which was after 2 years old. And that was
all right, so you guys have some interesting comments. You're all insane. Love it. Anyways, one of the things that they eventually talk about, I don't know when it gets to it, but basically they say when she had the baby, because the first 7 years of a child's life, according to researchers and everything, and I actually think this too, becomes your inner voice. So whatever people around you in the first 7 years of your life are saying about you or about each other, about other people, becomes the voice in your head. So that's how you get programmed. The first 7 years, like I think you're in theta waves. So you're just like absorbing everything, and that's going into, that becomes your subconscious. So if people are fighting around you, if people are saying negative things around you, if people are being snarky around you, if people are being users, manipulators, nasty people, anything like that in the first 7 years of life, that becomes in your subconscious, and you could become like whatever's around you. So that is why daycare is such a danger, because you have no idea who these people are when you're not listening, when you're not watching, and your children are picking up everything they do. They think, their micro expressions, everything, and that's going to become their inner unconscious self. So while children are building this in the first 7 years in life, that's why I really agree with what she says here, that children should be with their mother, father, the family. They should be at home with the family for the first 7 years, at least for the most most of the day. There should be very little exposure to anyone else that is not direct family that we want them to emulate, because that's going to be their subconscious mind for the rest of their life. That's going to be their attachment issues. If you rip a child before 7 away from its mother for long periods of time, it shuts down. The second a child stops crying that its mother has been ripped from them, it has become an avoidant attachment, right? And avoidant attachment disorders are plaguing people. That is why there's so many breakups. That's why she has these problems. That's why everybody has these problems, because when you rip a child from its mother before age 7, or any of the family members, it could be the father, it doesn't matter. Direct family members or grandmother, whatever, it has to be a family member. When you rip them away from their caregiver and put them with strangers, put them with other children, they are not getting social skills. They are learning to shut down their bonding abilities because it is unsafe to bond in their environment. So they will never bond. So that means when they grow up, there's always going to be in the back of their head, nothing is forever. I can't trust anyone. They'll leave me. They'll leave me. Any moment, they're going to leave me. And then you're going to create a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? That is why it is so important to be with your children 24/7. You can only leave them with, the only people I left my kids with was my dad, my mom, and my husband's sisters, right? Like, that's it. Because I'm like, whoever I leave them with, they better love them comparable to us. And they better control themselves comparable to us. And they better have values comparable to us, because I don't want to tamper with those first 7 years, the most vital, critical time. And women will dismember you online if you mention this, because God forbid you say that by them working, they've done something wrong and that it's their fault that their children grow up and then get a divorce or whatever as they grow older. That is not what we're saying. We're saying that these 7 years are so vital that you can't even have, what's it called? You know, like how wealthy people have the au pair, whatever, I think it's called, like that, like a nanny, a live-in nanny. Wealthy people know not only if you're going to have a nanny, not only did they have to stay with them while they're children, they need to stay with them until they die, right? This is true. So when you would get them, you would agree to take care of that woman, so usually a woman, for their entire life. So this was usually an unmarried woman. She's over 35. Nobody married her. She doesn't have a family. She doesn't have a lot of money. She doesn't want to become a prostitute or whatever. So she aligns herself with a wealthy family. She takes care of that child. So she gets to have her mothering instincts and bonding with that child. And as a thank you, the family takes care of this woman until she dies, her old age. So the children go off to college, she's still there. And she kind of retires and just kind of lives in the house, right? And I know families who had these women, right? And they were called grandma, whatever, but they were non-related women that the family just agreed to take care of for their entire lives to help them raise the children. So it's kind of like an exchange. Instead of, now this kind of goes into a gray area. They were usually not paid. They were usually like, whatever you wanted, you had to ask, and the family would purchase it for you. You were sick, the family would take you to the doctor, whatever. So, like in that way, it is a little sketch, if you know what I mean. But the principle was, this person would be in the child's life until they died. They would stay in the house in the family home, right? And I think if you're going to go the way where you're going to have a nanny or something like that, and it can't be the grandparents because your grandparents can't retire anymore because the economy is so bad, then make an arrangement with someone like this. Say, look, you don't have to work. We'll take care of you for the rest of your life if you come and help us raise a kid so that the wife can work or whatever she needs to do, right? If you do that, that's fine. But this idea that you're going to dump them in this place with multiple other children and a rotation of different caregivers that they can never attach to, you're setting them up for severe lifelong issues. And I'm sorry if this makes people uncomfortable. I'm sorry if it doesn't feel good. You need to look into attachment disorders. And there's someone called Susan Vechner, and she has a whole podcast on this topic, and she goes into all the science. So if you have disagreements, go there. Argue with science. Argue with data. We already have it. Anyways, moving on. So what she goes on to say is she wanted to stay for the first 7 years with their daughter and not travel and not do anything and not leave her with anyone because she didn't trust anyone. She didn't even trust a nanny, and they could afford a live-in nanny and chef and all that stuff. So he was like, why? Again, they both come from broken homes. He comes from a single mom who was working all the time. So he goes, I have money now. You should be okay with leaving our child with strangers so that we can travel and leave the country, leave our newborn child with a stranger nanny so that we can travel and explore the world just like we did when we were single and didn't have her, right? And this is where she said, what? That's not the family I want. I want to raise my child because I have certain things that I want to make sure do not happen to them or do happen to them, depending on like what it is for the kid. And I want to be there. Like if you're in another country and something happens with your kid and you can't be there right away, the trauma that's lifelong. That's not a joke. So anyways, he didn't understand that because he's like, I have a strong, independent mom who don't need a man. So why wouldn't you want to go travel with me? I can get you massages in like Bali or something. And she's like, what, bruh? What? What about the baby that we made? So that I agree with her. He messed up, but he did come around and said, okay, if that's what you want to do, whatever. So that's when they kind of had this tension where he kind of like said, okay, you want to stay with the kid, you don't want to travel, fine, you stay with the kid, but I'm gonna go travel, which that's a little sticky, right? You have a wife and a baby and you don't want to be with them, you want to travel the world, and you're willing to leave them at home so that you can travel the world alone. That's really weird. Anyways, so like I think he messed up there. But again, he comes from a single mom. He doesn't know any of this. And he probably doesn't resonate with it. And he probably goes, I turned out fine. You know, like how some people go, I turned out fine. Therefore, my kids should be able to handle it too. And the reality is you didn't turn out fine if you believe this is okay. My opinion, research backs me up, but that's all I'm going to say. Anyways, so that's when she started like having problems. And then she said, the fact like in 2020, when everything was locked down, he had to stay there. He couldn't travel. And she was like, I felt like we grew as a family. We were together all the time. We got to take her to like classes and we had dinner and lunch and everything together. And we would cook and be at home and watch movies. And she was like, this is a beautiful family life. And then as soon as the travel restrictions were off, he booked a flight and got out of there. And she was like, I thought we were having a good time. And he's like, oh no, I was only home because I couldn't physically travel and leave you guys. So that's a little sketch. That's sketch to me. That's not nice. But, you know, this is real life. People need to talk about this shit before they get married. These are very important conversations. How do you want to raise your kids? How much traveling is okay? How is their nanny okay? Is the chef okay? What do we want to feed them? Are we going to put them in daycare? Like, come on, you guys have to have. I know if somebody's really hot, you get like messed up and you don't want to ask the questions, but these are kind of the important questions you need to be asking people. Anyway, so that happens, blah, blah, blah. Okay, quality time, parenting styles. He just wanted to leave the kid and then go. All right, now we're going to see what triggered the breakup.
When, and it's just important for me that I set the record straight. When we speak about this, like, hey, Alex wasn't present. Like, even when especially when she was small, I remember until she was like probably 2+, 3. I remember every morning, I would do the morning duty, right? I'll let you sleep till like 8:39 because I want you to have your beauty rest.
The night is pushing it out.
No, but sometimes it would happen, and many times I remember back then she would wake up early. So from like 5:30, from 5:30 to 8:30 for sure, for a long time, that was my time with her. It was like almost 3 dedicated hours that I'll spend with her. I still remember one of my happiest moments of my life was, and as I referenced it, like, cause I would make porridge for her in the morning, and I still remember that day was one of my happiest days when
you have it on camera.
I need to find it. It'll be amazing because she actually took the spoon from me and started feeding herself, and I just started crying. I was like, oh my god, it was so beautiful in terms of seeing your child obviously take those first steps. I taught her how to bike. I taught her how to swim. We took a lot of holidays. Again, us versus most people, we'd be on holidays for at least 2 months a year, at the very least. If we're counting everything, and in those holidays, I'm still present there in the mornings and the evenings and the weekends. Most fathers that I know, I don't know any father who's as present as I am, especially in those days. And that's where I felt also like I'm giving my all, and it's still not enough, right? And that's where I think and for you, you're like, hey, you're not giving enough. You're like, you judge me for like not.
I used to, but then I think I also accepted you at one point, right? I think we had many conversations.
Yeah, but I think that's
where that was not the reason of our separation. I think.
Of course, but I'm saying kind of also communicating some of these dynamics, which I believe couples with children can relate to, and just how.
Dude, I made my kid breakfast and I let you sleep in an hour. That's enough time. That's like 3 hours of my life I spent with this kid. Let's go to Bali. I don't know. I don't think he gets it. And that's a little weird. Like, people need to decide if they actually want to have a family, because the family, you don't just abandon your family, especially when you have young kids. It's not just a 3-hour thing. Like, my dad didn't just make breakfast with me or with my mom. Like, they would make it together. They would make breakfast together. We'd eat breakfast as a family. Then I would, my dad would take me to school. My mom went to work a different direction. And then my dad would pick me up from school and he would take me to get ice cream and talk to me about life all the time. And like dinner too with a family. Like, it's not just breakfast, you guys. I don't know. Like, this just seems to happen when guys come from single mother households. They think, look, I didn't have a dad at all. So 2-3 hours is like amazing quality time. But oof, it's not enough. I don't know. People need to just like decide, not everybody should have kids, you guys. This is proof that not everybody should have kids. Because if you're just like, what's the minimum amount of time that makes me a good father or mother or whatever it is? That's not parenting. You got to be there all the time, as much time. If you are not physically at work, you should be with your kid. Now, if you're going to have a date night for like 4 hours, 5 hours, and you leave the kid with some family member you could trust, someone who's like really close, then yes, you need that time alone as a couple, of course. But we're not talking about that. You don't travel and leave your child. Ugh. Don't get married. Anyway, so let's move on. Okay, this is when
are important, because this is the layers of life and any relationship. And I don't think it's only one thing that happens. That one last thing can happen, but the relationship erodes slowly, right? The water comes and slowly erodes the rock. And I think these small things over the years were eroding our relationship without me consciously being aware of it. And then, yes, something happened that then the whole thing unraveled. You have the rapture in a relationship. And I think that's what we're going to talk about next. So this was March 2023. This is the Netflix show. But of course, I'm not going to go into all the details because I think we're not going to make this a 10-hour podcast. But
it's going to be a Netflix show, guys. It was so amazing.
Without going into all the details, it was a normal March day. We woke up together, took Alexa to nurse school. I think she was already in school. And then I remember we even had a couple of selfies in the car, so cute together.
That's the wild part, is that looking at those photos and seeing us, it's like us as always, happy together,
we're still happy together.
Yeah. But I mean, like, even, that's the thing, I think, even as we communicate, obviously, the hardships, things like that, but the reality of our relationship, it was always chill, happy, beautiful.
Easy, kind, like peaceful, romantic, like that has always been and still is the relationship we have. I mean, relationships can change forms and meanings and purpose, But overall, our relationship has always been this, what still is, remains. It started as a beautiful, healthy, secure friendship, still is a very beautiful, healthy, secure friendship. So what happened that day is that we were going to go and see an office space that we were considering to rent.
Which is our current office space at the moment.
We don't need to give out those details, but fine. But yeah, we were going to see multiple units. And we went to see all of those units. One of those units were shown by this young man who was actually helping someone, a family member. He had nothing to do with that space, but he was helping someone out. I didn't even see him because I was looking at the space. We looked at the space. We left the space. We liked the one upstairs. And we kind of confirmed that this is the one we're going to take, which we ended up taking. And then as we left the office space with you, like there's moments in our life that forever change our lives. And I remember asking you, are you coming with me to pick up Alexa? Or are you, and not to blame you for not coming with me to pick up Alexa, but I remember as we left the office, because I was going to walk at the time she was in Notting Hill. She's no longer there. So I can openly say that her school was in Notting Hill. So I was going to walk to Notting Hill. It was a 30-minute walk from wherever I was. And I said, are you going to walk with me to pick her up? And you're like, no, I have a meeting. And, we kissed each other bye and we go our separate ways. And I go up.
We literally went our separate ways.
I go up the street and it's beautiful March day. It was March 13th. Flowers are blooming. I'm taking pictures. And I see this young man is running after me. And I'm thinking, why is he running after me? I want to listen to my audiobook. I don't want to talk to anyone right now. I'm a Leo. I can be a little extra and dramatic at first. But whenever people come to me, I'm always kind and always nice. But these were the thoughts at that moment. And anyways, long story short, because again, we can make this super longer. This young man approaches me and he was the man who helped us with the office. And we started talking. And as soon as I looked at him, it's almost like an old lover that I've loved before has come back. Like I remember looking and just thinking, what the F did just happen? Because I really didn't see him in the office space. Has he not followed me, I would have never even remembered him maybe. But it's because he followed me.
Destiny.
Right? And I never,
uncomfortable.
I never in a million years since we were together. And again, just to preface this, I am someone who has always had guy friends since I was little. Like I've had sometimes more guy friends than girlfriends. Like in high school, my best guy friend was a guy. In college, my best friend was a guy. So I was always surrounded by many men of all ages, all kinds of looks and success statuses. I really don't care. All of them have always been in a friend zone. I'm not someone who can just meet someone and fall in love. This is not normal experience for me. At that point, I was 36. I'm 38 at the moment, about to turn 39 tomorrow. And this man walks into my life and it's love at first sight. Never happened to me in all these years. And I'm thinking, what is going on, right? Like I'm freaking out on the inside. He's asking me all these questions. And then he's like, where are you walking? And I said, I'm walking to Notting Hill. And he's like, great, I live in Notting Hill. And then we walk for 40 minutes, 35, 40 minutes and have the deepest conversations because I don't do shallow. And I remember thinking right away, oh, I wish I was not married. And I thought this is the most bizarre, never. I've met so many men in all my years of us being together. I'm always out there socializing again, meeting all kinds I never wished I was single. And I remember thinking that was so messed up, right? And then we walked and we really connected deeply. And that moment when we had to say goodbye, I remember thinking, I'm so sad. I don't want to say goodbye to him. Like, I don't know if I'll ever see him again. Like, I felt so emotional. I don't know this person. Like, logically, to this day, I cannot explain this experience. But viscerally, on every cell in my body, I knew this day and this moment will change my whole life.
Wow.
And it did. And again, this is a Netflix show. We're not going to go into all the details of what happened after. All I can say is
she's going to monetize this cheating if it's the last thing she does.
That I realized I fell in love. But
I think I'm curious of that. And before I ask this question, just to preface it, as you said, for me, never doubted, never looked at anybody.
I've never looked at anyone either.
You were always my woman, and you would say it's the same for you in that.
Absolutely. Never looked at another man. Never, I don't know, probably sometimes we flirt a little bit, but it's kind of like very friendly flirting. But to be honest, never came across anyone I even had a crush on. I'm not talking about love, but not even a crush. So for me, I knew this was not a normal experience. I am someone who is very self-aware and very self-observant and someone who is very radically honest with myself. So I knew when this happened, this is not normal. I just didn't know how this will all unfold. My biggest hope in that moment was that he was gay. And I was hoping that if he's gay, him and I can be best friends. And I really was praying for that to happen because I thought maybe if that's the case, but part of me was hoping he's not. And I knew that was wrong. So anyways, long story short, I lost sleep. From that night on, I couldn't sleep. I would maybe get a couple of hours of sleep. My whole body was like turning over. My heart was flipping every second. And this never happened to me in my life.
Demons, the lust demons, they took her.
And I remember that we had an exchange on WhatsApp because we had a WhatsApp group to see the office space. And eventually he asked me out for lunch. Well, it was coffee, then ended up becoming lunch. It was 3 weeks until we saw each other again. We ended up going for lunch, which for me, again, I have a lot of guy friends. I'm out there all the time meeting guys or girls. It was not a big deal.
And we do the same thing, by the way. We never felt jealous, both sides. I would go for lunch with women, but not like
you've introduced me to so many incredible women that I'm still friends with.
So we're always very secure. And like I said, I trust you, you trust me. There was never in this 15 plus years of our relationship, never any doubts or that type of kind of jealousy. So
then we go for lunch. And again, I was hoping that he's gay. And then one of the first stories he shared was about his date with a girl some time ago. And I was like, OMG, I am in so much trouble. He's not gay. So I remember thinking then that, first of all, when I saw him again 3 weeks later, I was hoping anyways, the story has many points. I was supposed to meet him for coffee 2 weeks before that. And I canceled because I just thought I can't meet with this guy. I'm a married woman. I have a child. I can't do this. But at the same time, I knew that I can't numb the way I was feeling. I thought it was wrong. I need to go deeper to understand what is this, because this is not a normal experience. At that point, you didn't know anything.
But also in those 3 weeks before you met, you say you couldn't sleep. Did you start then having these
I was researching.
desires?
Yeah, at that point, I didn't have desires. I just fell in love.
But in love, I'm saying, are you already having sexual fantasies? Like, what's happening?
Not yet. I think at that point, I didn't have sexual fantasies about him, but I just knew that my body was so turned on by him that I never felt this way with another man. And that for me was really bizarre. But again, he didn't have a picture on WhatsApp. I didn't even know for sure what he looked like. I didn't have it on Instagram. Like 3 weeks, I didn't see him. So I canceled and I thought if he reschedules, I'll see him. And he rescheduled. I thought if he doesn't reschedule, I will never see him. But again, he pushed and rescheduled the first coffee meeting that we're supposed to have. Then we go have lunch. And I remember I walked in. I was like, really, Mimi, really? I sat down, I look at his eyes and I was like, it was the same feeling. It's like when I looked in his eyes, I still can't explain it, but it's like either I see the past life, I don't know what I see, but I just see something that is, I need to follow that. But again, I didn't know exactly what that is, right? But I just can't deny the way my body feels. And my body feels so alive and so turned on that I've never felt this level of turn on in my body. And I think that's really important to know because I think for many years, I felt very numb. And again, this person was a catalyst. I'll share the rest of the story. It's not necessarily that he came to save me, or clearly that is not how the story panned out. And you'll hear the details. But I just want to preface here is that we can walk very numb for many years. And then a situation or a person will walk into our lives to shake us up and make us see what we're ready to see. And I think for me, it was the level of my numbness before that. And you are not responsible for that numbness either, right? It's just my own ability to feel had expanded in that moment. And I very clearly, especially after that lunch, I knew I had two choices. One choice was to numb that feeling and the love that I was organically, spontaneously feeling for this person I don't even know. I just met him like a few weeks ago. And the second one was to go deeper and understand what that is. And I knew that I can numb because I knew that I've been numbing for many years, not necessarily love. I've been numbing other feelings and other emotions. And I knew love came to unnumb all of them for me. Why this person? I don't know. Sometimes we don't know the full story. Maybe someday I will know. But that was the case. So again, what followed after that is me going and having an honest conversation. I think I literally, the next day, your mom and I went to ABBA concert. And I remember after the ABBA concert, you walked into the bathroom and I was taking a bath. And I kind of shared that I had a crush on someone. Because for weeks at that point, I was like, married woman has a crush, what to do? I was literally like in a movie. I was like, what do I do? Who do I go to? This never happened to me. Do you remember that conversation?
Yeah, but I intuitively felt already something.
You knew, of course you knew.
And I actually called it out. I said, is it the guy from the office?
I don't think you said that at that point.
I felt like I did.
I think later. We had multiple conversations, but that was the first conversation. And then I think maybe we had another one 2 weeks later. But I remember it. This is the craziest.
You have good memory, yeah, please.
Yeah, I have a very good memory. That's why I could write scripts. So for 3 weeks, I barely slept. I started losing weight like crazy. But I had all these love hormones, so like I felt elated, I felt excited, I felt a little
lust hormones.
Insane. And at the same time, I couldn't sleep. And I just knew that I can't survive on 2-3 hours of sleep. And 2-3 weeks in, when I met with him and I knew like, okay, this is something bizarre. I can no longer hide my feelings. I need to be able to share them with my best friend, which you always have been. And because I knew he's not gay, I shared with you that day that I have a crush on someone. And I remember and this is for the record, I think it's so important for any man also watching, not for a moment, not then and not since then, in the last 2 years, have you ever made me feel ashamed? Have you ever judged me? Have you ever made me feel bad about who I am or what I was feeling? Not for a moment did you judge my experience. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you, because in all of that, you remained my friend. And I think I did the same for you the previous year when you were like, I'm going to go travel the world and I'm going to do all these things. I remember telling you, I have a feeling this is not going to be good for our romantic relationship, but as your friend, you need to go and do all these things. Because I know that if you don't do those things because you want to keep the romantic relationship happy, eventually it's going to all explode and it's not going to be good for a romantic relationship. So you go do you. And if we're meant to be together, we're still going to be together, right? Nothing can shake what is real and what is truthful. And at the end of the day, we have to follow our path and what our heart is here to do. And I think we come together in a relationship thinking that we are together. But at the end of everything, we're individual souls living on our individual path. And we're here to learn our individual lessons and expand in our individual ways. And I think this is the part that sometimes can be very difficult, because we are, as humans, meant to be in relationships. So how do you sometimes go through an experience like the one we have gone through, right? And again, to cut this long story short, because it is very long, and again, that's why one day maybe it will be a Netflix show. If someone is watching from Netflix, I've got the story and everybody's happy to share it. But the truth is, nothing has ever happened with this man, right? To this day. I'm going to cut the story short. There's no juicy, I mean, eventually we did kiss, but this was after we separated officially. And it was insane. But nothing beyond the kiss has ever happened, because this man was not ready for anything to happen. And after I was honest with you and I told you about what I was going through.
Chads are never ready to commit, especially to a near 40-year-old single mom. What is even happening? The fact that she thought that this dude that was apparently so incredibly attractive, and she even calls him a young man, so that means he's even younger than her, but he's successful already. Why would he want to be with an older single mom who is willing to leave her entire family for him? Like, that's insane.
Eventually I shared with him what I was going through. Like
that was much later.
Yeah,
and I think
that was like 4 months later.
To get to this point, also from my perspective, again, when you say, hey, and you came out and like, hey, I have this crush, and I'm like, hey, did you do anything? You're like, no, I just have these thoughts, nothing, he doesn't even know. I'm like, then it's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong. And
you were like, you're a human being.
I'm like, you're a human being. And I'm like, I'm a man. And like, as a man, I still have desires for beautiful women every day, right? I see somebody beautiful, I'm like, wow. And you can have fantasies, you can all that, but that doesn't mean you have to act upon it. So for me, from a male perspective, I was like, whatever, like, it's okay to have turn-ons, and you're a sexual being. You're not supposed to just think of me. Like, I think that's totally normal. And I was like, babe, like, we'll work it out. Like, as I said, I didn't judge you. I was like, thank you for being honest and sharing me. And that was my moment. I was like, okay, like, time for me to up my game in terms of see like what is missing, what can be done. Because again, my viewpoint of a relationship is you're gonna have waves. You're not always gonna be turned on. There's gonna be droughts, and you have to go through those moments. So as you know, from my side, I tried to really reinvigorate. How can I be more present for you? We'll go for so many walks in this park and speak about this and love and our relationship and everything, and me trying to understand you and vice versa. And so for me, I did not see it as the end, or it's a crisis, or how could you? I was like, we'll work it out. And then so for the next following 6 months, that was my kind of goal. I still kept being romantic. I still kept trying to do all the things. So I'm curious from your side in those months.
My opinion, what should he have done instead of being so supportive? He should have been like, oh, okay, you're hitting on, well, I'm going to go out with my girlfriend that he probably already had a crush on, because I know why he has so many guy friends. We all know why. I mean, girlfriends. girlfriends. Yeah. Because remember, like we talked about last time, men and women in friendship, women find 80% of men unattractive and men find 80% of women attractive. So it's more suspicious for a man to be friends with a woman than a woman to be friends with a man. Because a woman can literally find a man not attractive and treat him like her brother, and there's no problem, right? So like it's usually like okay, like if the man is getting something from the relationship, not sex or sexual interest, but like let's just say if the woman's treating him like family or a brother or whatever, they can go out and she can introduce him to other women and she can kind of like vouch for him, like he's safe, he's a good guy, he's really nice, and she can get him chicks, right? But when a man is friends with women, it's usually just because they're backups or like just in case, or maybe he really wanted to be with them, or maybe he's like, I don't like them, but I'd bang them if they got lonely. That's just how it is. Life is, we're animals, right? Animals. That's why I always tell my hoe, no friends. If you want to go out with your girlfriends, you can invite me. I'm your girlfriend too, honey. I'll be there. And I don't go out with guys without him. I'm just like, I'm going to go out with so-and-so. We are going to go out with so-and-so in a group. Because why would I go out alone with the dude? Just like, why would you be alone with a chick? That's a date, bruh. Anyways.
Because it felt like I was trying.
Ethan.
I was trying to make it work, and you're also open. It's not like you're totally shutting me down.
Books, yeah.
You're also receptive, and you also were, from your side, were trying to make it work. But at some point, it felt like you already
tapped out,
gave up, and then like, okay, this is not like, because it's. I think this is the interesting part, because we didn't have a toxic relationship. We had a very beautiful.
Hold on, let me read this one. He should have gave boundaries and laid his weak ass pipe to that one chick. What?
Beautiful. We have a very beautiful life, relationship, romance. You can say all the things you can about me. And I'm saying that's why for so many people who saw our story in full but don't know the details that we're going through now, and even our personal family and friends, they're like, this is crazy. Like, you guys have,
you out of all people,
especially we did our vow renewal a year and a half before, which was the most beautiful thing, and it was real, and we caused like 5 divorces at that vow renewal.
Okay, we need to talk about this. Okay. First of all, Darth Grumpy Dad, yes, I do agree. It all sounds like elite behavior. People with money who think they are among the elite don't believe the rules apply to them. Yes, just because you have money, success, fame, power doesn't mean you are not a freaking animal, and animals be animaling. Also, here is their vow renewal. So they went, I think, I don't remember where it was, but some, I don't know, beautiful place in the middle, some ruins somewhere. And they invited all of their, influencer celebrity friends over there. It was like a real who's who of the influencer couple community. And they're like, we love each other. Come and see our vow renewal. Vow renewals for me, huge red flag. Like for you guys too, like when people have vow renewals, like I want to prove to my family that after 10, 20, whatever years, we're still so madly in love. It's like, bro, what? And the fact they brought all these people there and just like a year or so later, they're splitting up is crazy. So they mentioned they split up 5 relationships, 5 long-term marriages, 5 families broke up because they were invited to the vow renewal. And these people are like, oh my God, I so love you. Are the sun and moon and stars. And they're like super like, over the top, expressing their love for each other. But you have to be freaking careful. Because you have to remember this. People who are like, I love you so much, blah, 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 blah. I'm so perfect. My relationship is so perfect. Anyone who's trying to sell a perfect situation is so far from that. People who are pretending to be, like, it's like they know the cameras are on them, right? They're trying to sell an image of a modern, perfect relationship / partnership / we have a business / we're boss babes. boss dudes together. We're a team, you know, like all this frou-frou shit. But the reality is, real couples have arguments. Real couples are not looking at each other 24/7 like this in public. That's crazy. You know, and also real couples statistically do not post pictures together constantly. Like, this is a problem. Maybe like Father's Day, here's a picture of me with my husband. Maybe it's like his birthday, here's a picture. You know, but like if it's all the time, look at how much in love we are. Look at what he bought me. Look at where we're going. We're on vacation. We're this. Look at how happy we are. Look at what a perfect family. I always see that after somebody cheats. And you guys know it too. It's the over compensation. When you overcompensate for something, that's a red flag. Like, come on. Like, I remember people were saying, post Steven. Why aren't you posting him all over your public social media? And I'm like, I don't want bitches to know what he looks like and to go and steal my hoe, right? I would rather protect him from the public than post him and open myself up to them evil eye hoes. Now, finally, I ended up posting him a couple times, like, here you go, so you can shut up. But you shouldn't want to post your partner. That's cringe. Oh, also, you know how like Pearl and a bunch of people were attacking some rando? I don't know who they are. Maybe they're famous. I don't know. Some Twitter or X beef because some chick posted the ring, but it's like her hand with the ring on it. And I'm engaged. And then Pearl's like, no husband inside them. Look, notice how modern women don't want the man. They want the ring, and they want the status that the ring gives them, blah, 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 right? So I look back and I too posted just my hand in the ring when I first got engaged. But like, I don't think that's what it is. Now, I don't know. I'm more of the thing of if you post a man, you're trying to get them stolen from you. I'm very superstitious about that stuff. I don't like posting. I don't even like him on. Like, put your glasses on, make yourself look ugly. Like, don't look attractive next. Like, make people think you're not attractive. That's what I prefer. But that's because I like to keep what's mine. It's not for the world. But whatever. What do you guys think? You think that like you should post your significant other all the time and say you're super happy and perfect together? Or do you think you should keep some things a little more closer to your heart and to home? That's just, you know, everybody's going to make that choice. Now, I will say this. There was one time I went to somebody's home that was a frenemy, and they had little voodoo dolls, right? And they looked suspicious. So you take this. So I stole the voodoo doll to like look at it better. Inside of the voodoo doll was a photo that they printed out of the internet of me. Right. So there's some demons out there. You got to protect that shit. Right. And I'm always like, I tell my hoe all the time, like, you want to be online, you want to do stuff, you better pray every single day for protection, because when you put yourself out there, these crazy ass bitches, they literally will try to take what's yours. Some people can't stand people being happy. So like, I always like try to be like, downplay how happy I am, because I don't want that attention. Because if you start telling people I'm so happy, I'm so perfect all the time, I feel like that attracts all the demons to you. So you got to be like, we're just barely getting by. Or like, you know how like girls do that a lot. They'll be like, oh, you're so pretty, you're so wonderful, I'm sure you have a great life, because that means like, I don't want your evil eye, you're wonderful, please don't find me as a threat, leave me the F alone. That's what we do. Smart girls anyways. But the girls who are not so smart are like, I'm so wonderful, I'm so perfect, I'm untouchable, everything is great about me. And it's like, oh, you gotta be careful. Moving on. Anyways. See, I mean, I think this is better. I think it's better. And people go, oh, that means it's your sugar daddy. You're just posting the meal, but not the man who bought it. I think, why would you post something you don't want the world to steal from you? I don't know. That's just me. Now, even though I was like bullied to posting, Like, I still am like, I post like pictures like when we were younger, or like when he's wearing like the fake mustache or something. Cause I'm like, yeah, I don't want you to really see him. You know what I mean? That's just me. I think it's like really weird. It's a horrible world we live in. Not everybody has good intentions for you. You don't always want to, and the other thing that people are always like on the internet, they're like, everybody's miserable in relationships, but that's because the miserable people post things, or the narcissistic people who are overcompensating post things. Those are the two people you'll see online. Miserable people talking about how they were cheated on, not acknowledging that they did something sometimes, or they pick bad, or they didn't see red flags, or they keep picking the same people over and over again. They don't acknowledge that. They're just like, everybody's terrible. Not, I don't know how to pick good people. Everybody is terrible. See the difference? And then you have people like this who are like fake, narcissistic. I'm so perfect. My relationship is so perfect. I'm better than you guys because you can't figure it out. And 5 families broke up because of this. So be careful. Be very careful. Yes. See, I like that. I like the presence of the man. You know how like in the Playboy, the photographers would say that they would never show a man in the photos, but they would like to show the presence of a man, like a tie or like something like that, like maybe the shoes in the corner of the man, like something like, like there's a man there that she's supposedly looking at in the photo. That was the whole premise of the thing. So beautiful woman, presence of a man. I think that's cute and classy. Why do you need to show your shit online, right? Why do you need to do that? I even stopped posting on Facebook, like family photos, even though like it's just 2 other people that we know. Because at the same time, I just thought about it one day and I was just like, I don't want them to see me and my kids, even though we're happy. I don't want them to, because there's going to be people that like are going to see that and they're going to say and wish in their mind, ugh, this bitch. Ugh, I hope that something happens to the kid. Ugh, I hope they leave each other. Ugh, he could do better. Ugh, she could do better. Ugh. Some negative ass monitoring spirits all over the internet. Like, why do you need them to know that? I completely got off Facebook in 2020. Now I was bullied off because all the liberal people attacked me. But I'm much happier without Facebook, and I barely post on Instagram. I just share other people's stuff that I think is funny. But like, I don't want to post my family anymore. I think once you realize what you're really doing, what you're attracting, you realize this is stupid. I don't want to do it. Like, if I want to be online to do my thing, that's fine. But I don't need to share people that I care about, because they're super influential. Not only did they cause 5 divorces of very happy families, but multiple divorces of people that they don't know on the internet, because women see this type of shit and they think, I need to be like this. I need to be with someone who's publicly telling me what a wonderful person I am all the time, and staring into my eyes and taking photos, staring into each other's eyes, but put the camera over here. Now quickly stare into my eyes and make it look like we're having an intimate moment and we're like the perfect couple, and make everybody hate us. Yes. And then these women are scrolling in, they believe it. And they're like, this is real. What I have is fake. He doesn't look at me like that. I don't look at him like that. That means I need to have what they have. And until I have that perfect situation, I'm not going to be happy. Yes, they caused 5 divorces of other influencer married couples that went to their vow renewal. That's what we're talking about here. Yes, they are famous for something. They are multimillionaires. They started a business, multiple businesses together, and they're internet famous couple, whatever. They're like the hashtag couple goals couple. Anyways. So let's see. Is there anything else? All right. Radical responsibility and emotional growth. Why safety and freedom sometimes clash. Okay. Long story short, the dude and her separate for 2 years. They've been separated thus far. And she tried to get with that younger, hotter Chad guy. He kissed her 3 times. and then said, no, thank you. I don't want a relationship with you because you're a single mom, you're older than me, and you just left a marriage. So I don't think you're a good fit for me. Obviously. Any dude with choices would choose better, we would hope, right? So if she wants someone else, it's going to be someone who doesn't have a lot of choice, a near or 40-year-old woman with a kid who just left her marriage with a quote unquote very nice, wonderful, perfect guy. And you guys have to be really careful with this because there's a lot of women online posting like TikToks and Instagram reels and shit saying, you can leave your perfect husband. You can leave your guy if he doesn't beat you and cheat on you and lie to you and treat you bad. And even if he's a good provider and does all these, you can leave him because there's somebody who's younger and hotter who you'll lust for. So girls, just leave him. Like, this is the propaganda, right? These are the things that get shared on the algorithms. You have to be really, really careful. Everybody's out to get you. When you get a girlfriend, monitor the social media and explain to her that every time she's on her period, the algorithm knows and will show her he's cheating on you propaganda. Even though he's a nice guy, he doesn't love you enough propaganda, or you can do better propaganda, or look at this perfect couple who's, you know, so much happier than you. Therefore, you need to leave your guy because it ain't it propaganda. This is what happens to women because, women are threat detectors. So if they're constantly told, this is what you really need to have to be in a good relationship, and they're with like a normal, healthy relationship, it's not going to be enough. They're going to go nuts. So you have to be careful. Also, remember, do not stress out women because that's the other problem that they get into. When they get under stress, they flip out and they will do things to self-sabotage when they are stressed out. Yes. Yeah, I think this is I think it's a good thing. Ugh, pictures of kids with threats is no bueno. Yeah, there's a lot of crazy people. And Anson, if you got a woman, her emotions are yours to handle. It is the dude's job. You gotta be like, woman, calm down. Have some tea. Go sit in the room and look out the window. I got it handled. That's the reality. Unless you want this stuff to happen. Unless you want all this drama to happen. Anyways, let's see what else. So she did not get the dude. Oh, he ended up getting, obviously, he got very easily, might I add. He's tall, fit, good-looking guy. I mean, he got with like a liberal chick, but he's a pretty good-looking guy. So he immediately started slanging, you know what? And he got a bunch of girls that he banged afterwards. And then he got into a long-term relationship with a girl. And like about, I don't know, maybe it was like for almost a year, he was with one girl in a relationship. And then that girl and him broke up. And they talk about how after his breakup, he wanted to talk to her, aka his best friend, whatever, about the breakup. And, you know, they're like holding hands and talking about the breakup. And she's like being there for him and all this stuff. Like, ugh, whatever. But that's what happens, bro. You are not friends first. You are lovers first. Lovers first. Lovers first. Always. If you want a relationship to work, it's got to be that, because you'll see a lot of broke ass dudes that spend a lot of time in the bedroom able to get chicks to like pay for them and do stuff for them, because if she's very attracted to you, it's going to be easier to maintain stuff. Now, if you don't have anything else but that's also a problem. So it is. Yes, I agree with this. If she's acting up, throw her in bed, have your way with her. They'll calm down immediately. Sometimes they just need a little bit of attention in the bedroom. Also, what is this? Yes, This dude is an attractive dude. He's not an ugly dude. You guys, he's not. All right. So don't be like this dude. Don't become BFFs with your wife. Lovers first. Most important thing. Anyways, that is all I'm going to talk about today. And you guys have a great rest of your day. I refuse to dream. Okay. All right. It is what it is. I hope it works out for you, Anson. But then you get like this psychobabble type of chick. It's up to you. Cheers to you guys. Have a great day. Have a good rest of your day. I hope you all have a wonderful time. And I will see you all next time. Also, remember, I was like, what, 15 or 13 hours away from getting monetized. And then I didn't post anything for like a day or two. And now I'm back to 100 hours away again because every day it like moves the goalpost. Like you lose the day before. I'm just so freaking frustrated with this shit. I don't know. So if you guys can, please, if you haven't watched an old episode, just put it on the background on mute. You don't have to listen to my shit if you don't want to. Just please help a bitch out. Put it on the background because someday I plan to be monetized. And again, no shade to this couple. They shared a lot with us, and I hope that we got to learn something from it. And these are just my opinions. You know, at the end of the day, nobody knows what goes on with people. Maybe, you know, I don't know. Like, we don't know everything. So this is just what they said. That's all we're going off of. So you guys have a great day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.
The old gods whisper with tongues of sin. They crawl through culture to pull you in. Don't be for sale, don't wear their grin. The old are rotten, don't let them win. Eyes and heads and mirrored glass. They promised youth, they cursed your past. You drank the lie with ruby lips, but every tone